Welcome everyone to our Guidance City YouTube channel. And today we have Disha Bakchi. She is a psychologist from Delhi NCR. I am welcoming Disha to our program.
Thank you, ma'am, for welcoming me.
Disha, how are you doing today?
I'm really doing great. How are you, ma'am?
I'm also fine. So, Disha, let's start with our interview today. And I just got to know that you are also dealing with corona patient for last few days and different type of issues you are handling. Right. So as I just came to know that you are also dealing with corona patient for last few months and different types of cases are coming to you. So, could you please enlighten us with this thing that what type of cases you are actually getting for last few months as it is the second wave?
Okay. So, I think everyone is talking about anxiety and stress. I mean, anxiety and stress is something that has been the trend of the time, to be very honest. So, it is not only, restricted to the corona patients, but it is also, widespread. It is found in the children, adolescents, who are facing corona themselves and the family members also. I mean, I work with children, adolescents as well, and the adults. So during the corona, during the pandemic era, I mean, there are various kinds of issues that are arising. So when we talk about anxiety, the first, anxiety is about what if this will happen, what if this will happen. So, there is a lot of fear and fear of life. I mean, that is the greatest fear every person has. I mean, what if I contract the disease? What if my parents, what if my family members does? What if my friend does? And moreover, when one is actually into the situation, how to deal with, where to find those hospitals, where to go, where to take. I mean, there is a lot of anxiety around this thing, particularly because fear of life is the greatest thing in the human. Secondly, when it comes to, the children and adolescents, there is anxiety prevailing there as well because there is a disruption of the school time, there is a disruption of the routine, there is no proper scheduled routine. Sometimes if they have been asked to do certain thing and then suddenly they would say no, this is not, that you're not supposed to go out. So they, it is very, even they are not able to decode what actually the concerns are. So, they would say that, we are having no playtime, we are having no peer interaction. And when it comes to children, they fear more about their loved ones. What if we lose, something happens to my parents? It is, the fear is more about their loved ones rather than themselves. When it comes to adolescents or other children, the academics is suffering a lot. I mean, what boards, if boards will be conducted or not, will what after what industry to go after 12th, because there is a lot of uncertainties in the industries also. Many, a lot of industries are suffering. So what industry, what if my interest is into particular industry, what will I be ever able to enter into that or not? Then comes, financial crisis. A lot of people have been losing jobs, they have been continuously searching, there have been a lot of anxiety there also. um, Apart from that, what I feel is, you know, um, I would like to share an incident also here in related to anxiety because uh, there is a lot of uncertainties around. So one of my friend's father got a paralytic attack also because of the anxiety, because of the fear what will happen, what if situation. So I think anxiety has been the star of the era. Apart from that, we also see there is a lot of anger issues that comes among children, among adolescents, and among adults also. In that, there is a lot of fights in the couples also. The children will show temper tantrums also because everyone has been confined to a particular place. They do not know how to channelize. Then the question comes, why this is happening to me? So anger is all about why. Why is this happening to me? And another thing is the grief part. I mean, we are losing out people. I mean, it is, the grief doesn't has to be direct. Even it indirectly affects us a lot. So I still remember one of my friend mentioned that whenever he listens to anyone mentioning about, the news of losing someone's mother, so he feels that as if it is his own. So that grief is also affecting him a lot, and that somehow or the other is hampering with his daily life functioning, with work, and a lot of things. Apart from that, there is lack of uncertainty, so we don't know what will happen in the future. There is hopelessness. So people somehow are also getting to the hopelessness part. Moreover, if someone contracts the disease, so the first thing that comes is, I won't survive. I won't survive. The first thing comes, and we, somehow or the other keep on repeating those thoughts. I won't survive, even if it is mild contraction. The thing that is the fear, I won't survive. So these are some of the basic concerns that are arising in the present situation, and people, are contacting me, or people are actually approaching me with these concerns.
Okay. It's good to know that you are dealing with different type of
Yes.
cases, and you already have talked about grief part and everything. So, what is the difference you are, getting from last year to this year? Because last year the scenario was totally different because that was the first wave in India, and now the second wave. So, what are those differences you are getting?
Okay, so when it was about the first wave, it was not taken that seriously to some extent, because it was something that it has come, it will go. But then eventually, when the cases has risen, even then there was a denial. Nothing would happen to me. But now that it has, second wave, so somehow or the other, with the time, with the situation, there was kind of acceptance. We were moving, we were into different routines, and again things came to normal. Uh, uh, it seemed that it was getting to near to normal. So there was a kind of peace, there was hope again. Again, the offices, schools have opened. Again, that interaction has begun, and due to that, again everything has turned back to where, you know, everyone has that, put so much of effort to, come out of that hole, and somehow again everyone has fallen to the same place. Everyone is fearful of now again putting those efforts. So this time we need more of efforts. Everyone is, the anxiety level, everything is more higher intensity than it was before, because earlier it was as if that things will happen, this too shall pass, but this is not working now. This is absolutely not working now, and there's kind of hopelessness and nothing will happen, nothing can save us. So the intensity is really greater, and it is affecting somehow the children as well, because now that, we are also, the threshold point is crossing for the adults also, so somehow it is being transferred to the children also, somehow or the other. So I think children is also the greater population that is being affected in the second wave, and if the third wave arrives, I think that population will be the most affected now, because we have already been in that place, we are dealing with it, but I think this will be the greatest
Right.
change that I could see.
Right, I can understand. As you said, that it is like a totally a different situation because
Yes.
people are becoming hopeless and they
Hmm.
need more effort. Right. So,
Hmm.
what type of suggestion you usually, give to your clients to deal with this kind of situation, like separation anxiety the child may experience, right? Because they might have developed some anxiety related to this situation that they might lose their parent.
Hmm.
Right, and some people are also like experiencing depression due to their economical condition, or some people are experiencing severe anxiety, panic attacks, and everything. Right. So, how are I just want to ask you, like, what are those suggestions you are, providing to people so that they can feel calm, composed, and organized, and uh, somehow
Hmm.
adjusting with the situation.
Hmm. So I think, whenever this comes, something physiological happens, I think first we need to work on a physiology. So anxiety is also about physiology apart from thoughts and emotions. So I think first foremost thing that I ask my patients or the clients to do is to go for the breathing exercise. I mean, that is somehow, once they reach into that calm state, I can introduce something next. I can ask them to change up their thoughts, something. So I think breathing exercise and mindfulness is something I really, appreciate them that if they would go for that. Secondly, I think, it is very important to understand the triggers. What are the exact triggers that are leading to certain situations? Now, if it is about children and the separation anxiety, I think it is very important to talk to children in a very subtle manner that, and raise that adversity quotient, because you know they have to means the situation can be presented in a way that these are the possible causes, these are the possible things that can happen. But it is also, the person also have to be very mindful that every time the same news is not being repeated to the children, because if every time same thing happens recurring, so that will lead to more of anxiety. Second thing, I think eat, sleep, and exercise is something that is for all. I mean, since ages this has been repeated. I mean, if it has been repeated, that means it really keeps a value, high value. I mean, eating properly and have a proper sleep schedule and exercise, it is really mandatory, especially these times, because our body is into into lack of motion. And so we really have to try on different foods that is easily digestible, having a proper sleep, because sleep is something, it is hampered to a great extent. And exercise will automatically, increase those oxygen levels in your body, and it will make you feel worthy and productive. I mean, it is that effective. So when I was talking about sleep cycle, I mean, fixed routine is also important. Now, fixed routine is not something that the routine that you have been following in the physical space need to be replicated into the online space or wherever you are. Routine can be something that works for you in the present time. If but make sure that the sleep and the daily activities are the same time that you do repeatedly on different days. For example, if you used to, I will give my own example. If I used to wake up by 6, that doesn't mean that I will have to wake up by 6 again now. But if I wake up by 8, that means I will have to wake up by 8 every time, every day. So I will sleep at the same time. So, and you know, all the activities that I do in a particular day will fall into the same time slot, so that it is easier for my brain to get trained that these are the daily activities that you need to do. And it is a then my brain will automatically go into that autopilot mode, and it will not be an effortful task that I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do. Again, then apart from that, identifying your own resources, what resources you have, be it the financial resources, be it the social support that you have, be it the even if you have lost at a loss of job, what else you can do to earn money. I think we really have to be that solution oriented, and we need to find our own resources from where connectivity, networking can be done to gain those and access those resources to move ahead. And apart from that, it is very necessary for a person to keep on doing something, because and the thing or the task need not be very big, it can be small as anything, but that should give a sense of productivity, because once there is productivity, it keeps the life going, which is it's a life force. Once you get into that unproductive mode, automatically we get into those negative cycle that we are not capable of doing anything, we are not able to do anything. Another thing I feel that sense of responsibility, maybe it can be also as simple as that, like looking the news from an authentic source, not passing something uh, you know to another source which is not authentic, and not rectifying. So that sense of productivity and sense of responsibility is something I feel it is really important for the person to go. So these are some of the things that I ask my clients to do. And lastly, the most important thing is creativity. Create something new every day. And what I realized yesterday, that we always talked about creativity in terms of that painting or mandala or something, art and craft or journaling or doodling. But I realized that it is not so. My mother is also creative, but she doesn't sit with those things. She would arrange something in the kitchen that is organized, that is her own accessible. She would say, no, let's change the curtains today. It will look good with the color. Let's buy some home decor. Let's get some plants. So every person has that creativity. Someone would sing, just make some random songs and sing in the bathroom. So that is also creativity. So creativity is something that you create. So it is not something that you replicate or adapt to. I mean, that gives a sense of, productivity also, and it is something novel. So it automatically makes someone feel good. So I think that is also an important aspect. So I think these are some of the suggestions I usually give my clients to go for. I mean, this really helps them. And yes,
That's great to know that you usually motivate them to be creative,
yes,
because I also feel so that it is a very important source of happiness.
yes,
Also, Disha, I want to ask you a few questions related to, your mindfulness activity. As I
hmm,
know that you are
yes,
practicing mindfulness for last few years.
yes.
So, could you please enlighten us some of the techniques that our client can apply?
Okay. So, before we begin with the techniques of what mindfulness is, I would really like to introduce. So, mindfulness, whenever we talk about mindfulness, the many a times the image that arises in our head is like sitting in a particular position, closing down our eyes, and go into that meditation mode and chant some mantras. No, it is not that. Mindfulness is as simple as attuning to the present moment. Whatever you're doing, just do it. Be in it, do it. It is here and now. That is mindfulness. That cutting out that autopilot mode. And when it comes to technique, obviously there are some breathing techniques. When you breathe in and breathe out, focusing on your breath. That is somehow one of the technique can be. But I would like to share some easy techniques like that can be done at home. So, for example, whenever you wake up in the morning, so just rub your hands, put up on your face, feel the warmth. That will attune you to the temperature, and how that will help you to that is a touch factor, that is skin factor, that is helping you to be in the present moment. Another technique or could be brushing out with the left hand, left hand or the non-dominant hand. For example, we are always when, because what mindfulness is that cutting down that autopilot mode. And what autopilot mode is, we are always in a space of being in the past or in the future, and just thinking around, we don't actually be where we are. We are always there. So we really need to cut down that autopilot mode. Now, mindfulness acts as if, like, for example, you are watching a YouTube video and suddenly an advertisement pops out, and that advertisement is so good, we forget what video we were into, what YouTube channel we were into. So, mindfulness acts in the same way. So, when you brush with the left hand or the non dominant hand, so automatically your focus goes on the hand, the movement, the bristles, because you will have to put that effort. So, that is one of the ways you can practice mindfulness. Another could be, using, our five senses are the greatest tools we have to practice mindfulness. So, this could be, another could be, whenever you are using any fragrance, for example, try to smell it. We use it for the smell, but we never smell it. We never, take that essence of the smell. Whenever you eat something, feel how many times are you chewing, what is the texture of the food, what is the color of the food, how does it actually taste. Apart from that, I think these are some of the techniques one can do. And if you want me to demonstrate any breathing technique, I can do that also.
Yeah, please, if you can demonstrate that thing, then it would be easier for our audience to understand what,
Mm,
like, the steps of this particular breathing exercise.
okay. So I would do a box breathing exercise. So what we really need to do is, now this is a particular breathing exercise. So we need to sit comfortably wherever you are. You can close down your eyes. If it's overwhelming for you, you can absolutely choose not to. Just imagine a box or anything that is square. Anything that is square. Now, when you imagine that is square, now start thinking like you will have to inhale. So move from one corner to the next. Inhale for 4 seconds. One, two, three, four. Now breathe out and come down to the next corner. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in again. Come to the next corner. 3, 4. Breathe out again and reach back from where you have started. 3, 4. Again breathe in and move to the next corner. 3, 4. Release. 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And release. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So so this is one of the exercise. Another exercise could be
Really feeling good. Really feeling good because when you just instructed, I was doing the same. It really feels like when the mental box was there and I was following, like mentally, I was following the box from
hmm,
here to there, then there to there. So it was actually kept me in focus.
yes. So this is one of the technique. Another technique could be, a fake yawn technique that also works, and that is, taking a small short breaks whenever you are into a pattern, maybe a pattern of work, maybe a pattern of something doing mundane. You feel mundane, so it's a fake yawn. You can just yawn as if you are yawning, and you can stretch out your body, and you just take a short break for yourself. It's kind of humor. You're introducing humor to yourself, and you're also giving yourself a short break. Okay, let's relax. And it's something you can do anywhere. No one is going to judge. No one is going to see something
Right.
you're doing faking out. But it really helps. Another thing, I mean, especially when it is anxiety or something, you can anxiety or anger. You can just rush to the nearby tap. You can just put up your face, or you can put up run through the water through your hands. It will help you to attune or return back to the present wherever you are. Another technique could be, just closing down your eyes and, using the touch sensation and feeling how actually it makes you feel whenever you are rolling down your, fingers through your skin. I mean, these are little techniques that you can actually do to attune to the present whenever to break down that thought processes. Yes. So these are
Thank
a
you,
few things.
Disha, for sharing these wonderful tips with us. Now let's move to the next question.
Okay.
Uh, as we know that we all of we are psychologists, right? But
Hmm.
still we are human beings, right?
Hmm.
And we are also going through the same kind of situation that is currently going now, right? Due to this pandemic, right? So, could you please explain in some of the areas that you have experienced during this pandemic situation, and how did you handle all those stuff gracefully?
Okay. Okay. So I think my anxiety comes from my parents who go to work every day, because I and my brother work operate from home, but my parents are into that field. Every time meeting various people, different people, and they're coming into contact. So that is one of the part of anxiety. And second source of anxiety is my own friends who are losing people. Every day I scroll through the WhatsApp, I see someone mentioning that they need something or someone they had lost to. So what I have decided, or what I usually do is, especially in those moments, is to choosing myself to cut down from that social media for some time, because it really helps. That you really need to give your brain some space to not, there's so much of information overload. The brain cannot take, the mind cannot process. So somehow or the other, to take a break and keep that control and the choice in one's hand, that how much I want to indulge into social media, how much I want to be with others. Another thing is keeping those sources and the resources, not sources. I mean, in case of emergency, because we are fearful of the emergency, what will happen. So if you have that source resources, you have that index, so you can scroll through in the time of emergency, because when emergency arises, you have to act immediately. And apart from that, I told that following a daily routine is really important. Another thing that I do is, I was actually watching a YouTube video and got to know that, the morning regime that you follow in the morning for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever you do in your own space, that makes your complete day. On that, your complete day depends. And this is something I've applied to myself, and I really feel if I wake up anxious, my whole day goes into anxiety. If I wake up, doing some practicing some mindfulness, because or being calm, so my day will go like that. So I think mindfulness is something I am really, I keep on trying to be attuned to the present moment. I also practice meditation. I've also created a routine, like I pasted on my cupboard also to keep, look at that. Apart from that, I've also pasted some of that chits onto which I've written something like, that giving me positivity. And the moment you um, keep on reading those things, how that imprints into your mind. So somehow or other, it helps me to keep going. Apart from that, being grateful. I mean, I know the times are really hard, but we often in the hard times we often forget to be grateful of what we actually have. I don't face any financial crisis up till now. There are a lot of things that are actually going good, and if I'm not focusing onto that, I mean, that can really hamper. And the last thing that I wanted to mention, that every concern that is arising is due to that lack of purpose. We are losing that lack of purpose in our life, because firstly we had to rush to the office, we are losing that. Other, we had to go to the school, we are losing that. But finding a life, purpose in life is really important. So because we have that goal, we can orient to that goal, and we can actually work to that to stay productive. Yes, I think these are some of the things that I do that help me keep going.
Thank you, Disha, for sharing all those important aspects of current scenario with us, and also sharing all those tips with us. Hope in future, like, we will explore more regarding this thing. Thank you everyone for watching our program, and see you all on our next video.
Thank you, ma'am.